Hello everybody, it's Philly Kuts with another Hump Day Haul. We are up to number 79. You know, every week I get together with you guys on Wednesday, new comic book release day, and I talk about the stack of overpriced new release books that I buy in order to, kind of talk to you guys about it a little bit. So hopefully, leave a comment in the comments section below, letting me know what you think about the books that I'm getting, maybe about some books that you're getting, and no big whoop. Can exchange ideas, talk about it. Now, I fucked up this week. Here's what happened. In true DC fashion, whenever there's a big story going on, with like Batman or Superman, they always have to have it across multiple books. And I've been reading the Superman Savage Dawn storyline, and I forgot to pick up Superman Wonder Woman number 27, and I'm supposed to be reading that before I read Superman 50. So, I'm gonna have to go back to the comic book store and get Superman Wonder Woman number 27 before I read this, because I'm all caught up with this story arc, and I don't want to ruin it for myself, and I certainly don't want to ruin it for you guys, but this is a wham doozy smack dab doodly doo. Well, not really doodly doo. It's a big issue because it's finally the showdown between Superman and Vandal Savage. And I don't want to really look through this too much, but if you've read Action Comics number 50, and I think that we're outside the spoiler window, as you can see, Superman is in his suit, baby. He is all geared up. Now, I'm not sure if this is Howard Porter doing the artwork here, because also in true DC fashion, there's multiple artists on this. There's something like 3 or 4. So I'm not really sure. But if you read Action Comics number 50, you've caught up and realized that the kryptonite treatment that Superman was utilizing to burn off that skin, that dead skin that was on him, that was blocking the power of the yellow sunlight, well, that burned off all that, nasty skin, and he's got many of his powers back. So I'm really looking forward to this. And also, Vandal Savage, being the creepy scumbag that he is, he sent all his kids up into outer space to get close to that comet that he wanted to harness the energy of to increase his strength and power. Well, he's a pussy because he wants to test it out on his kids first. He wants to see if his kids can make it through it. Wants to see what happens to his kids. His kids did. They came back all crazy superpowered, all pumped up, amped up, and, yeah. So it's exciting. And this is going to wrap up, I think, Gene Yang's involvement on the series, and I think maybe even Howard Porter. Also, Vandal Savage kind of takes Superman through, trips through memory lane, and kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of like reminds me of the Christmas Carol a little bit, right? Ghosts of Christmas Past and all that shit. Anyway, number 50, conclusion of Savage Dawn. So I'm really looking forward to that. Okay, another cool issue I got, DC. Sinestro number 21. Now, there have been battles galore with Sinestro and the Yellow Lanterns. He was doing monumental battles against the Paling, which is this anti-emotion religion. If you know anything about the Green Lantern, Yellow Lantern universe, you know it's all about emotion. The Yellow Lanterns getting their power from the emotion of fear. They did it. They saved Earth from the invasion of the Paling. Believe it or not, in this bizarro universe right now, the Yellow Lanterns are being celebrated. Sinestro is being celebrated for saving Earth. This battle against the Paling was so serious that Sinestro actually gave rings, yellow rings, to various A-list superheroes and supervillains. I mean, you had Harley Quinn getting a yellow ring, you had Scarecrow getting a yellow ring, Wonder Woman, Superman, who was notably not in the same timeline as the other Superman during Savage Dawn. He seemed to be a Superman that had all his powers. But this battle that Sinestro waged against the Paling, he even recruited the help of Black Adam, it drained Sinestro completely. And now he needs to rely on the help of his daughter, Soranik, who was once a Green Lantern, and has always kind of had reservations about her father. So I'm really hoping and praying that Cullen Bunn, the writer, explores this relationship between those two deeper, more deeply, kind of get more into the psyche of Sinestro's daughter. There she is, and what she's feeling and what her thoughts are. And I'm hoping that this just isn't a kind of a one and done with her maybe at the helm of the Yellow Lanterns. If there's one thing that I hate about DC is that I feel that they kind of tease you on a lot of things, They kind of give you these interesting little storylines or threads, and they immediately extinguish them, and that's what really bothers me. I mean, even the fact that a lot of these various supervillains and superheroes got yellow rings, I really wanted to explore that more. Like, I really wanted to know the fucked up shit that Scarecrow was going to do with a yellow ring. Just imagine, like, the scare tactics that he could utilize with the power of a yellow ring behind it. It's just amazing. And I just would love to have seen, like, an even more manically demented Harley Quinn, But they didn't develop that at all. They just kind of showed a few panels of them getting the ring, and, you get kind of amped up when you see that, and it gets your imagination flowing and going. But then there's no payoff or no delivery. So I'm hoping that they explore this a bit further, I don't know if Sinestro, this series, is going to survive the whole Sinestro, or the whole DC reboot, or whatever you want to call it, rebirth. I'm not sure which titles are coming, which titles are going, so there's a lot of uncertainty on my end. I haven't done a lot of research on it, so I apologize. All right, Martian Manhunter, number 10, another book from DC. This is going to be interesting. Read what that says there. The Secret Origin of John Jones. This is written by Rob Williams. Artwork by Eddie Barrows, which is top-notch. I love the way he is making things look in this book. There's Malfalik, one of the evil red Martians. Martian Manhunter has always been kind of a mysterious character in the DC universe. A lot of people say that he's just completely overpowered, that he has pretty much all the powers that Superman has. He does have a weakness against fire, I believe. Serious weakness against fire, but he can do all kinds of crazy stuff, especially in this series. He has the ability to kind of break off into different beings, so he could be in multiple places at one time, inhabiting different entities, which is crazy, because near the beginning of this book, John Jones, Martian Manhunter, found out that he was sent from Mars to be utilized as a weapon in order to restore Mars. But upon finding this out, he kind of killed himself. But he had these other entities of himself out and about. So he had Mr. Biscuits, who's this crazy insect praying mantis looking dude running around. He had an African-American guy that was like an FBI agent. And then an Arabic woman who was like this cat burglar. So pretty interesting stuff. I'm looking forward to finding out what was his story before, finding out that he was this super weapon. I'm really interested to see what that's going to look like, and how that's going to be. Because I am enjoying it. It's a good book. It can be complicated a bit at times, and definitely worthy of a reread. But I'm enjoying it, and I'm sticking with it, and I'm hoping, too, that it's, the series ensues after this whole rebirth thing. There's a good picture of Martian Manhunter. Looking badass. I mean, this guy can do anything. He can turn into robots. And in the last issue, he was like a giant mech robot character that put, the Bat mech to shame. I mean, he could just do anything. I mean, you think of it, he can do it. He's got telekinesis. He's got all kinds of shit, man. I just think I would love to see him versus Superman. That would be interesting. All right, I got one Marvel comic this week, and it isn't Star Wars related. I got Spider-Woman, and I am loving this book more and more every issue. Dennis Hopeless and the artwork of Javier Rodriguez. The artwork and the writing, they both just get better every issue. And this issue totally explores Miss Drew's insecurities, fears, and anxieties about being a brand new mother. The thing that I love about this series is that you can go from the last story arc, which had her still pregnant, battling the Skrulls out in the middle of the galaxy somewhere in a maternity ward run by Alpha Flight, inside a black hole. And now in this issue, she's back like in NYC, I think, tending to her child, inviting over like She-Hulk and stuff for help. Only in this series can that happen. I mean, they do try to do that kind of stuff a little bit with Harley Quinn, although I don't know how much of that is cannabis-induced. Harley Quinn loves to smoke the sweet leaf, and then she gets into all these kind of crazy delusions, I feel. But I'm just loving it. I'm just loving how vulnerable they're making the character, and this issue, total vulnerability. I mean, you can just feel how worried she is, and she's scared, and she's nervous, and she's wondering if she can go back into the world of superheroing and if she can still do a good of a job, because now she has all these anxieties that she never had to worry about before with a kid. I feel too that the connections that she's going to have with the Porcupine and Mr. Ulrich, the guy who kind of gets her assignments in New York, is going to grow. They're back in this series. They were noticeably absent in the last story arc, so it's good to see them back. She actually has Porcupine, this burly guy right here, who's like a Z-list villain, former Z-list villain, as her babysitter, which is interesting too, because in the last volume of Spider-Woman, she was helping solve a crime for these Z-list supervillains who were being like kidnapped and stuff, and their family members were being kidnapped. So good connections. I can't recommend highly enough. And in this issue, we do find out who is the father. That's the question that everybody has been wondering and asking, and we do find that out. Now, I got some Image books, 3 of them. I got Monstrous Number 4. This is another book where I get my anthropomorphic fix. This is a complicated book, man, and I definitely have to read it like twice each time I get this. And I last read issue number 3 like 3 weeks ago, so I'm not too well at remembering stuff. But there's a lot of politics going on in this. There's a lot of factions, sorcery, dream sequences. Isn't that a creepy looking anthropomorphic animal? Marjorie Liu is the writer. Sana Takeda is the artist. Again, it gets better and better every issue. The main character has like this entity that's kind of in her conscience. This dark, crazy looking thing. It's kind of torturing her, and she is just being totally tormented by this entity, and it's tearing her apart. I'm just going to read the front cover because I can't do it any justice. So, the story thus far. In the aftermath of a terrible war, the Federation of Man is still in conflict with supernatural arcanic knights, or arcanic hybrids, whose bodies are harvested for lilium, a powerful substance coveted by a human religious order called the Kumeya. Makia Half-Wolf, an arcanic teen, is on the run after breaking into a Kuman stronghold, murdering one of its elders, and stealing from her a photograph and a fragment of an ancient and powerful mask, both of which might provide clues about the murder of Makia's mother. In the wake of her mistake, Makia has been hunted by Federation soldiers and Kumeda Inquisitrixes, who are nasty, alike. But she has fought them all off with the help of her greatest secret and greatest burden, a creature called a monstrum, that's that creature who I showed you before, that lives inside of her and hungers for flesh. With the help of her two companions, a young arcanic girl named Kippa and an enigmatic cat named Master Ren, Makia has turned south in search of answers about her past, her present, and the monster under her skin. Just such an interesting book, man. And if you are into cats, if you are a cat lover, this is your book, man. Cats with 3 tails. 3. All right, dudes. I got another image book, The 13th Artifact. Now, I guess this was an ongoing Top Cow series at one point. What appealed to me about this story is it's a one-shot, which, if you guys watch my comic book haul, you know that I wish that there were more one-shots these days. So many of the stories are so ongoing, and me being a DC fan, the crossover, the tie-in city, it's just a lot. It's a lot to try to remember. So I was attracted that it was a one-shot story. It's also some award winners of a 2015 talent hunt. I guess Top Cow Productions was doing a talent hunt. These were the winners. This is the artist, or the writer, Amit Calhoun and Eli Powell. I'm probably massacring names. This is a stranger in a strange land story. So this astronaut crash lands on a planet. The people that she's with perish. I love the artwork, man. It has like this frantic look to it. She soon discovers that there's beings on this planet. It's inhabited. There's civilization. I mean, she crosses this vast body of water. Finds that the place is civilized. Finds that there are human-like beings that are being enslaved by another race of people. And it just kind of goes from there, and that's all I know about it, man. I'm kind of going into this pretty blind, but I do love Stranger in Strange Land stories, and I'm kind of missing my Drifter comic from Image Comics, and this is going to kind of give me that fix. And I think along the way, we may get a morality tale here or two, which never hurts, right? Kind of keep you good, right? So I guess also there's going to be more of these award-winning series. It looks like it's all based on existing series, because I guess next month we are going to have The Darkness. And I remember that from the video game, The Darkness, with Mike Patton as the voice of the Darkness. And if you don't know who Mike Patton is, you need to be checked. All right, here we go. My last issue of the haul. We have a start of a new story arc, The Empty Zone. This was on hiatus for like 2 or 3 months, and my memory is all out the window, but I do remember that I enjoyed Corinne, who was the main protagonist of the story. She's kind of, in this weird state of mind. When you were reading in the first story arc, you never could quite tell if she was experiencing delusions, or if she was dreaming, or if she was just psychotic. It turns out they're in Berlin in this story arc, and they find another factory, another facility that is conducting experiments on the dead, making the dead rise and whatnot. Looks like we have a little bit of a satanic bent here in the ritual. You see the guy with the goat head. There's also vampires in here as well. So kind of creepy stuff. And they run into a bounty hunter who speaks German. And I don't know German, so I don't know if I'm going to have to get out my Google Translate and try to figure this out. I don't know why they do this. But this guy's pretty badass, and he's pretty on point. So I guess it's going to put Corinne and her companion up to the challenge. So I'm really looking forward to reading this. Jason Sean Alexander is doing both the writing and the artwork. And I look forward to it. All right, guys, that's a short one, man. Again, let me know what you're liking, what you're disliking. And I swear to God, I'm going to change up the scenery of the Hump Day Haul soon. I've been in the process of bagging and boarding all my books, and then I'm just going to kind of pick out the ones I want to hang on my wall as a backdrop, and we'll change up the scenery soon. All right? This is my favorite cover of the week. God, I love her. I love this comic so much, man. It might be one of my favorite comics, dude. Marvel. Surprise. All right, guys. Peace. Bye. Where's the stop button?